Hello there, Only One Kenobi here, Only One. This is episode 23 of Only One Fans. Let me just tell you what will and won't be in the episode. There won't be a spotlight special just for time purposes, but there will be the rest of the questions I need to answer. In fact, I'm overlogged or overbooked. I've got lots of questions that I've received, and those people that did post on that community page, you'll be pleased to know that you will be getting a chance to win a patch in a giveaway. I'm doing a live stream hopefully next Saturday, so keep that one in your diary. Hopefully I'll have Tim from Bosk's Bounty joining me. So I'm going to try and bosh through this episode and keep this introduction brief. Ladies and gentlemen, a lot of the videos that you're going to see now where I'm answering questions, some of them I filmed about a month ago, over 3 weeks certainly, and the remainders, if I don't get through them all, do not worry. I will get round to it. And also a few more voice notes came in after that, so that's great. I feel like I've got plenty to get on with, and so I should really, as I say, stop waffling on. What am I doing filming? These shelves are terrible. There's stuff dumped everywhere. Let's film this, that looks better. These Tuscans look good. And what else? The Jawas there. Yeah, so that's another job for this week. I need to get in here and get the shelves sorted. I've been doing all sorts of other projects. You might remember seeing me sorting out the new carded room setup. I've been spending a lot of time in there, having a lot of fun, and also working on this series, which has been a delight to do, the Best of the 96. I've loved doing that, and we're nearly at the end of that series, but there was more things to come. A brand new series will be following that, which I hope you will enjoy. And that is it. I'm going to leave it there, but thank you for joining me live or on the replay, however you want to describe it, because a lot of people do watch it live on a Monday at 9 p.m. UK time. So if you have missed it live this time, do check out another episode live and get involved with the live chat, which is always nice. And then that is it. So for this episode, I will be answering some more voice messages, answering some more comments, and opening, ladies and gentlemen, an appropriate figure for the Return of the Jedi 40th anniversary. Thank you for watching. I'm Only One Kenobi. You're my one and Obies, the only one fans. Boom. Alrighty, so I went to my PO box and this was there. I'm gonna open that, and I haven't bothered moving these ATSTs because I quite like the look of them. I've just come in here. I've been in for a few days, and here they all are, and they look great, man. They look really good, so I haven't decided quite what I'm going to do with them or where they're all going to go, but and do you know what? Getting that one has made me appreciate that one a lot more for some reason, but still. Yeah, so I was going to go to my PO box as I do every Saturday, except I didn't go last week, but I did notice in my spam folder of Instagram, some guy had said that they had sent me something and it had been registered as delivered. So yeah, I'll put up the name of the person. Drace, I think that's the surname. And yeah, thank you so much for sending this. I have no idea what it is. And the PO box, however long I'm going to have it, I don't know. It's up for renewal, but I might not even renew it. I haven't decided yet, because I do get some stuff occasionally, and I love getting stuff, but it is quite expensive. It's like £300 a year. So I don't know. I haven't decided yet what I'm going to do. So I might consider keeping it. I don't know. Oh, and there's a message as well. How good. Great stuff. Let's see what this is. Oh, wow. Oh, my God. Oh, wow. Look at that. That's amazing. This is something I used to have, but, oh my God, I had 3 of them. But that's awesome to see him again. I don't have him anymore. I've often said in videos that I bought, I mean, when I was a kid, I was probably about 4 or 5 years old, I had one 9-num, and then whoever else, maybe it was an elderly relative, bought me another, or maybe friends of the family bought me another, and I had 3 of these guys loose. Had I known any better, I would have kept them carded. But I think when you're a kid and you see a Star Wars figure, you're so excited, you want to just open it. But isn't it mad that he's not an army builder, is he? There's only one 9-num. But speaking on 9-num and the original 80s, I haven't seen it for many years. That's so cool, man. Thank you so much. Have you customized that? Or was he always that colour? Oh, yay, mother. That's amazing. I don't remember his jacket being blue like that. Isn't that weird? Got visions of him having a darker grey jacket. I think the new one, when it comes out, the TVC one, will be good to see. And this is the kind of figure I would put in a cockpit. I've got 2 Falcons. I've got one there, which I very much like having that as a return. Empire Strikes Back, because I've got a Leia and a Han and a 3PO. Articulated 3PO fits in there all right. And the Leia Hoth VCO2 fits in there like a glove. And you got Han and Chewie. But I might, because I don't have any in the cockpit of that one up there, I might yet put my Lando in there. And this fella, that would be awesome. I think that's what I might do with him. I might put him in the Falcon. So whenever you watch these videos, you'll see there was a 9-num in there with a Lando. I might have a spare Lando actually with Cloak. I'll see what I can do and put him in there. That's great. So thank you. From what I know, it's Matt who sent me that. Let me just have a look. I hope you don't mind me saying your full name. It was Matt. Oh, hang on. Was there a letter? There was a letter. Oh my God. Hello. Forgot about this. Let's see what you said. Wow. Hello, only one. I recently was watching your video, Star Wars Celebration 2023 Hasbro Pulse Panel 3.75 reveals reaction, and you mentioned never getting around to buying a vintage for 9-num. I got this guy in a lot a while back and already had this one in my collection from 1983. So here you go. I always enjoy your positive attitude in all your videos. Keep them coming. Matt from Colorado, USA. Well, Matt, something has been lost in translation there. Although it's worked out for the better, because as I've just said at the beginning of this video, I used to have 3 of the vintage 9-num, which is crazy. Again, I'll reiterate how as a child, you have no idea what you're dealing with. I already had one loose, and then I opened a subsequent 2 more figures loose, and he's not even an army builder. That's the madness of it. Matt, when I said I didn't have a vintage one, I meant the vintage collection, which is a modern line. I'd never got round to getting a vintage collection 9-num, but don't worry. There is no worry there because they are reissuing him. He's coming out. So 9-num is returning to the vintage collection, so I will soon have him. But yeah, so thanks so much for sending that. But I think that's what I meant. Here's the irony, man. I had not 1, not 2, but 3 of them, which is madness. But they've all gone. I don't know where they went. The ones I had in the 1980s, long gone. But now I have this one that you've kindly sent. That's awesome. And he does look good. It's nice to see him again. Because I don't think the Retro collection are going to do him, from what I know. I mean, I doubt they will. They might. Not that they shouldn't. But it's good to see this guy again. Interesting looking fella, isn't he? I don't know how I can't do an impression of 9-num. That's apparent. All right then. Thanks so much for sending that. Thank you for watching. This has been Only One Kenobi. Only one. Out. I just wanna open my figures. If I don't my nigga trigger, yeah. I just wanna open my figures. If I just wanna put my figures. I just wanna put my figures. I just wanna. Well, ladies and gentlemen, I cannot stress how excited I am to open this now today. I mean, I have been looking forward to opening it anyway. I've had it for over 2 years. This is Romba and Graak. Very topical at the minute. Number 1, Return of the Jedi 40th anniversary. But number 2, there's stuff going on with ewoks right now which might interest you on Tungori, but I'll tell you more about that later. But the thing about this is, the fact is I've just clocked that one of the 2 of these is Romba, and I don't have a figure for Romba at all. And I got very nervous the other day because, you know, the new series I'm doing, Best of the 96, I've really loved doing it. And the thing is, I was looking at what was left a couple of days ago, and suddenly Romba, boom, hit me, and I was like, oh my god, I don't have anything for Romba, which would be quite embarrassing because I've got a figure at least for all the characters, except for a couple, like Lumat. I've only got him carded, and sadly at this point in time, I've only got 9 Num carded. The vintage collection one, which is the best one for 9 Num. So I was like, damn it, I'm gonna have a big gaping hole there and I've got nothing to show you. But I was just sitting down, getting ready to open this, which I've been planning on opening this for months. I knew I'd do it on Only One Fans or maybe on its own video, but and then I was just looking at the card, and even though I've had this for 2 years now, and I thought, Romba, oh my god, I've got Romba, yes, hallelujah. So I'm really pleased about that. So let's get him open and I'll tell you a bit more about Tungori at the minute. Yeah, I'm just overdubbing this in post-production, ladies and gentlemen. Yeah, what it is with Tungori at the minute is they are selling loads of really rare ewoks. So keep an eye on it. I've got myself a Chief Chirper coming, which is one that you know that I needed. And a few others. They've even got Lumat carded, so definitely worth a look at Tungori right now. Yeah, that must be Romba. And this must be Graak. And I was just going on Google. I was about to go and have a look and see, you know, where they are in the film, what they do, because there's different ewoks. They get quick snapshots of action, like there's one guy in the trees with a gun going there's one guy who died, there's a couple that were running together, one dies, one survives, which is very sad actually, a very sad moment. But that is war, ladies and gentlemen, just to remind you the horrors of war, I guess. Now here we go, here are these guys here. I remember that guy when they're surrounding Han, Luke and Leia. I might go on Google in a minute and see who is who. In fact, I'll do that right now, bear with me. Yeah, what's best is if I just put up an image of the ewoks and it'll give you what's happened to me. It'll give you a subconscious flashback to what you saw in the film, because you just sort of see ewoks all over the place, and because we know those films so well, you'll instantaneously remember them. But doing a specific role, like taking over the AT-ST, for example, I thought maybe one of these 2 did that, but I think they're different ewoks that do that. You need to talk to Daniel Chart. He seems to know everything about ewoks. He really does. So, should we get it open? Let's do it. Yeah, that's interesting. I don't know why there ain't, but there is not a coin in this, which is a shame. But oh well, it's just one of those things. But you do get that. Romba and Graak, Return of the Jedi stand, which is nice. Very interesting. And I really do apologise, there has been no Boyer there, because I like to be respectful. I always open my 30th anniversary figures cleanly. I keep them. I don't know why. I've got loads of empty packages for 30th anniversary. I quite like the packaging of that. So there they are. Look at that. Very TVC, isn't it? It's of that ilk, isn't it? It's getting into that era when TVC started. Great accessories. Lots of them. Lovely detailed figures. Look at that spear. Loving that. Yes, man, I got a Romba. The vintage 80s Romba looked very brown. I've just been looking at an image of that as well. So that's got to be Romba, and this is Graak. Let's get him out. Just lost a little dagger there. That just came out. Look at that. Nice. And the spear here that you saw before. And I'm going to keep them just in here for now. Keep them safe. But they can obviously be used as accessories for Graak. Oh, hang on. Maybe Graak could put them in here. We'll find out. I'll look at that in a minute. Just want to get them set up. Wow, look at that detail. Check this out. That's a little sheath. I think that's the right word, isn't it? For a cover for a blade. Look at that. Amazing. I like that. There's these little thingies. I'm going to put them inside the holster thing for Graak. I like that. Look at this. I've really enjoyed opening them because when I get these figures from Tungori, it's not going to be the same. They're all going to be already loose, but that was nice to open some freshness. Murder bears, that's what Daniel calls them. I'm sure he's not the only one. Only one. Right. That was great. Oh, when you put this on here like that. There's a little peg on that knife of Romba's. I've loved it, man. It's come off. I've been waiting for over 2 years to open these guys. It's crazy. I've kept them carded. Don't know if their value's gone up or down since I got them, but whatever, man. No time better than now to get these out. Very topical. So go check out Tungori if you are a Ewok collector. These guys aren't on Tungori. He's got a whole load of other ones that are so stupidly rare, apparently, and expensive on the secondary market. So go check them out. Like Fincher or something, or Crinker. Can't remember the names. I can put them on the screen. Look at that. So glad to have Romba for my series, and this guy is pretty cool too. Thank you for watching that. Let's get on with the rest of the show.
Jedi Nick, here's a question for OnlyFans next episode. So apart from Star Wars IP, what other IPs do you collect? I know you've got a Donkey Kong arcade game, but do you collect anything else outside of Star Wars?
Thanks for your question, Daniel, and I have answered this before, I think, but let's talk about it again. There's not many other lines of stuff that I buy beyond Star Wars, but I am interested in wrestling. I don't watch it at all now. I love it for historical purposes, so every now and again, like once every year, I will dip into a documentary or two and look at some icons of the past. And this line in particular has caught my attention. This is the first one I bought from this line. It's called Ultimate Edition, 6-inch figures as well. I don't know what my plan is for these. I wouldn't mind having a lot of them loose, but they do look good in the packaging. But this is my latest one that I got. It's Goldberg. He's an icon. He is in a time, if you want to call it a perfect storm during the Attitude Era of WCW versus the WWF, this guy in the middle of it all was just a bolt of lightning. Absolutely fantastic. Looked like Stone Cold Steve Austin. Had everything that the Ultimate Warrior had, in terms of pop, bang, and impact. But he was a better wrestler than him and looked fantastic and loved Goldberg. But anyway, that's a great figure. This is a new one as well for Bret Hart. Look forward to maybe getting that open, actually. Ric Flair, brilliant. And of course, I'm a huge fan of Hulk Hogan. And so I have this line of figures here, and currently they're all carded. I only have one figure loose, which is of Hulk Hogan from the Survivor Series, wearing the Hulk Rules shirt. I opened that not long ago, but yeah, that's a little glimpse, man. But this is a great line, so I just thought I'd show you that. But again, I don't want to get carried away with all this stuff because storage will become a problem. So I only really want to get my absolute favourites, of which these are 4 of my absolute favourites from back in the day. Very much a 90s fan, man. Don't really follow anything before or after, but there you are. Hope that answers your question. Totally off topic from Star Wars, man.
Hi, anyone. A question for you. Where do you think that Hasbro will go now with the Star Wars Retro collection, revolving around the original trilogy? Do you think we'll get any more from the original Star Wars film? Do you think we will get a second wave for Return of the Jedi, like we had 2 waves for Star Wars and Empire Strikes Back? And do you think that they should stop doing the retro figures for new Star Wars media?
It's a really good question, Stuart, and one I've been thinking about a lot in the last few weeks because I've been in here messing around with my displays where I have some of the retro stuff intertwined with, the regular release of stuff and also the carbonized stuff. I buy it all, which maybe I shouldn't be. I'm only one man, but people like me buying it is sending them a message that we want it, but we don't really, do we? I certainly don't really want that stuff. And this stuff, Never really been a fan of it unless it's original trilogy stuff, then I like it. So ongoing with the retro collection, this has been fantastic. All this stuff has been great, and there's 2 variants of that layer. Can you see? That's the latest one. They came in the box of 6, and then that's the original stuff. I've kept that because this one here, you can see the Luke Skywalker lightsaber thing. That one's got the security warning on it. So anyway, back on topic. Yeah, I mean, I love the retro when it comes to that, but I've got all this stuff as well. And the thing is that the variant hunter or whatever in me liked having it to go with its equivalents. But overall, it's just awful. It's filling up a lot of space. There's some more of it there, you know? It's every bloody where. I mean, I like The Mandalorian, but when it came to Kenobi, I mean, look at this. We're still waiting on word that we're going to get a 5th brother. And a Ned 8. I mean, that was just nonsense. We're getting him. But come on. We don't need this crap. It's nonsense. Stuff like that, though, that is great. I do like that. Because that's what it should be for. Resurrecting that stuff. But that's just my opinion. There are people out there who like probably the style of this and want to see what Ahsoka's like that. They maybe just have only vintage 80s collection. So Hasbro want to snag them in as well, because no doubt those people will watch The Mandalorian and enjoy it. But they don't want to buy so-called modern figures. And even though these are modern figures, they'll want to see their collection have continuity, I reckon. So for that reason, they'll probably want to buy an Imperial Death Trooper like that. But it's just a strain on everyone's bank balance. Idiots like me who want to buy variants and stuff. But to be honest with you, this will probably be the first stuff to go. And by that, Stuart, I mean I'll be keeping my VC 1.0 and my prequel stuff. And any 2.0 that is original trilogy first, and the rest of it I would sell. Does that make sense? But also for the retro collection, I would love to see, just to answer your question a bit more precisely, I would like to see more waves of this stuff. So we got this great wave of the Return of the Jedi. We've had 1 wave only for The Empire Strikes Back. We've had 2 waves for New Hope now to make the first 12. I would love to see more waves of, oh man, especially Return of the Jedi, and there's so much that would be great. You know, that would be great. This would be great. That's actually a vintage 80s there. Oh, Gamorrean Guard, bring it on. Wicket. Oh, I'd love it. To answer your question, Stuart, number 1, retro collection I think should just be for the original trilogy, and number 2, oh yeah, and things that were never in the original 96. For example, like, you know, Tarkin never made it. That would be another thing I'd like to see in the retro collections. For example, we'd one day get a Rebel Fleet Trooper. But the other thing I want to see more of is more waves of the stuff we've already had. Like, that would be good if they could bring out the Gamorrean Guard. I'm quite lucky that I have that one anyway, which is an original 80s. But yeah, man, more of this stuff would be great. If they could finish the year with that, that would be awesome. I hope I've answered your question, Stuart. So let's get stuck into some of these questions, which I put out as an emergency, so I can make the show a bit more bulky. And it's from Colonel Angus, who asked, when did I start my collection? And, very good question, maybe something I've answered before, but I don't mind talking about it again. It's a long story and a long trail before I got to where we are here with this room, which is busting full of stuff. But it kind of started, well, I was 16 when I made the decision, when I picked up this Vader, and this is in 97, around the time when you were getting the special editions and stuff, and I only bought this one figure, and then I didn't buy another figure for 2 years until the Phantom Menace came out. But I just remember walking out of, I'll tell you where it was John Lewis in Cheadle. I bought this figure, and it just felt like a really long journey ahead of me. I thought to myself, well, that's one. I want loads. You know what I mean? And then, before I knew it, I was in my 20s. And I bought a few figures there, a few things here and there. It wasn't until I was in my 30s, I'd say, when I really went all out and started buying 3 3/4 inch, filling those gaps that we always dream of filling. And then it carried on from there to what you see today. But I've got to point out this figure because it is so significant, because there's my childhood years when I had figures that were bought for me because I was obviously so young, that I played with, broke, lost, buried them in the garden, all of that stuff. I don't have any of it. In fact, I've got 3 figures left. I've got a headless Han Solo, I've got a vintage Vader with no head, and I have a Nikto which has burnt feet because I burnt them on a barbecue. And that's all I have. Everything else, no idea where it all ended up. But then there's my adult collection that I want to keep pristine and looked after, and it started with this Vader. He hasn't got the right lightsaber there either because that broke. But it was depressing the day I bought this. I thought, so much I want, and what do I do? Do I buy the vehicles too? And it just seemed like a long journey ahead of me. You know what I mean? And it was many years until, as I say, I got my teeth into it proper. But then I think when you open the floodgates and you get on a roll, it soon happens, man. It all kicks in, and you get good bargains on eBay. Obviously, eBay never existed when I got this. It was just a matter of retail, wasn't it? But it was just a blessing to see that Power of the Force 2, to think, wow, I dreamt of Star Wars figures all through the 90s, man. The early 90s, I remember being in school wishing to find more figures that I remember seeing. I'm talking about the vintage figures here in the 80s. I really missed them. I remember seeing them at markets and in bargain bins and stuff like that, the tail end of it, but they were gone forever. That's why I mainly got into the action fleet, you know, because that was all you could get for Star Wars back in the 90s. Until the end of the 90s, I saw my first figure on the pegs for the Power of the Force 2. I know they were around in 95, but I never saw them until 97. And that is it, man. That's the story behind this Vader. Good question, man. God, that got me waffling. Here's a question now from John Warwick. I hope I'm pronouncing that correctly, my friend, but you asked which figure made the best transition, I think you'd said, from Kenner to modern. And, well, I have chosen to answer this guy here. I was just talking about him before, so he's fresh on my mind. But, you know, the bottom line is the vintage collection is so good that, you know, every figure pretty much that they have made that was in the classic line has seen an awesome revival, modernization, or whatever you want to call it, in TVC. He happened to just be on the shelf below, but he could be chosen. But I'm choosing Nikto because of the sentimental values I mentioned earlier. But I do like Nikto, and again, it's one of the last figures that I ever had from my original collection, at the age of 5 or 6 or however old I was, to survive. And I still have it somewhere. It's in the roof in my loft. But this is prime example of how they transitioned to the modern era. So it has all the elements that you remember from the original figure, the mint coloured top, you know, the headgear. But look at it, look how good it is. It's like he's jumped off the screen. The detail of the line of figures is epic. The texture of the skin is just like screen accuracy to a T. It's someone we don't even necessarily see that much on screen, you know, but it's just because of that card back we know who he is, we can identify with him, and he existed in the original line. So this one is just a prime one I always go to, a go-to guy when I talk about that history, that link to the past. But it would be grossly, oh, he's just fallen off. It would be grossly unfair of me not to give the Gamorrean Guard a mention here, the Gamorrean Guard. Look at him. The figure from the 80s was just immense, as were other figures like Tessic, Squidface. But this guy, I know a lot of people maybe moan about his fluffy skirt, but I think it's awesome. Look at his face. That is just, they couldn't do that figure any better than that, I don't believe, unless they were to tone down maybe the fluffiness of this. But look at this, look at the sculpt of that. That is the ultimate update of something that was already epic back in the day. It was a favourite of many people. The Gamorrean Guards were such icons. Not only were they everywhere to be seen in the palace and stuff, and, you know, tangled with loot, but got eaten by the Rancor. They're just iconic. I love the fact that I've, probably because it is the 40th anniversary, I've gone with 2 from from Return of the Jedi, so that's very appropriate as well to answer the question. But they seriously would be my choices anyway, you know. I don't know why, just for the reasons I've stated, but yeah, I think the whole vintage collection, if it's one from the 80s, it'd be interesting to really think about that and see if there's one that they haven't really, I can't think off the top of my head now, the one that they've collapsed on, but most of them have been splendid updates to what once existed, and they were all great figures back then anyway. I hope that has answered your question, my friend. Thank you for asking it. And ladies and gentlemen, that is now the end of this episode. It's quite funny when I should really record the intros after I've produced the episode so I know exactly what I've done, because at the beginning of this episode I did say that I was going to do all the remaining questions that I received a month ago, and I haven't yet. What happened was I decided to include the opening of that 9 Num into this video because I hadn't put that out yet, plus another couple of other things, and time ticks on and 30 minutes have gone by. But you know, that being said, it's good that I still have plenty of questions left to answer for next time, so if I haven't read yours yet, it will be next time. And also I received a couple of extra voice messages, and please don't stop there, keep giving me more, keep sending them in. Shout out to Travels with Jason's F, you sent me a voice message, sorry I didn't get to answer that. And also I think Gabe's Collection sent me a message, and I haven't answered yours either, and they were both great ones. I would have loved to have included them here, but unfortunately time has turned even without a spotlight special. So here's the plan: next time I do an episode of Only One Fans, I probably won't open a figure, or if I do, I'll make it quicker, because that 2-pack of Ewoks was epic and I loved opening them, I really did, and it's made me want not only more Ewoks, but I'm thinking now about HasLab. I'd love an Ewok village, man. As time goes on, that's something I want more and more, but I'll talk about that in a separate video if you'd like. But anyway, for now, I'm going to leave it there. So thank you very much for joining me, watching live, and I will do another episode very soon indeed. Thank you for watching. I've been Only One Kenobi. You've been my one and Obies, the Only One Fans. Until next time, goodbye.
Thank you.